Well, good morning. My name is Bill Werfel, and it is a pleasure to serve as your platform assistant today. Welcome to Unity Church for Creative Living, a world-class ministry dedicated to learning, growing, and serving. Thank you for joining us today in person as well as online. If you're watching us online and are in the St. John's area, we invite you to come by and feel our welcoming energy. I've heard it put, it's like watching church on a live stream is kind of like watching a fireplace on a screen. You see its beauty, but you don't feel its warmth. So come feel our warmth. Well, affirm with me today our affirmation for the year. Together, I am prospering and things are in store in 2024 and beyond. And one more time, we don't know yet, we're more than halfway through, a lot more than halfway through the year. So let's say that one more time. And no, I am claiming great things are in store in 2024 and beyond. And beyond. Well, today, Reverend Janet Lang is our guest speaker. Reverend Janet began her journey with Unity 38 years ago, right here in Jacksonville. She's been ordained as a Unity minister in 1995. And Janet served as minister at Unity Church of Peace in Jefferson City, Missouri for 3 years. After serving 19 years as minister of Unity in Littleton in Colorado, she's decided it was time to retire, return to Jacksonville where she has family. Today's lesson title is Seekers of Light. Well, I like more light, so I'm going to be one of those seekers. I hope you are too.
Good morning. It's great to be back with you again today. It's been a little while, but I'm always happy to be here with you. The title of today's talk is Seekers of the Light. Throughout our lifetime, we experience a multitude of influences ranging from our environment and experiences to perceptions we form ourselves or many times pick up from others along the way. And from all of these influences, we can form some really strange ideas about who and what we are. Now, just because we believe these ideas to be true does not necessarily mean that they are true. And let me give you an example of what I mean. Deep within a forest, a tiny little turtle began to climb a tree. And after hours of effort, he reached the top, jumped into the air, waving his front legs, and crashed to the ground. And after recovering, he slowly climbed the tree again, jumped, and fell to the ground. The turtle tried again and again, while a couple of birds sitting on a branch watched his sad efforts. And finally, the female bird turned to her mate and said, "Dear, I think it's time we tell him he's adopted." I believe it's important for us to understand, to really get it, that as far as this human life is concerned, we're all adopted. These bodies are not who we actually are in truth. In the Gospel of Thomas, we're told, if they say to you, "Where do you come from?" say to them, "We come from the light," the place where light came into being by itself and was revealed through their image. If they say to you, "Who are you?" say, "We are its children, the chosen of the living Father." Because we don't realize that we're adopted, or maybe I should say that we've adopted this human life, we come to believe that we are these bodies. We may even believe that we are powerless, when the truth is, as Marianne Williamson put it so succinctly, we are powerful beyond belief. There's something within us that urges us towards the light. And that something is the truth of us, longing to be known, longing to be remembered. In the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus said, "Let the one who seeks not stop seeking until he finds." And he also said, "There is a light within a person of light, and it lights up the whole universe. If it does not shine, there is darkness." And just like that baby turtle who kept trying to learn to fly because he thought he was a bird, we keep seeking the light because we think we are these bodies and do not realize that we are the light. Remember these words from Jesus in the Gospel of Matthew? "You are the light of the world. A city built on a hill cannot be hid. No one, after lighting a lamp, puts it under a bushel basket, but on the lampstand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven." Now, when Jesus is saying to let our light shine before others, he's not referring to some type of ego-driven posturing. He's talking about allowing that light that is that divine presence within us to radiate out in all that we say and do. And keep in mind these words of Chidananda: light and darkness cannot exist at the same time. When you bring in light, darkness must fly. No matter what darkness it is, it must fly. So that is the power of light. And I like the way that Interfaith Minister Reverend Diane Burke expressed this process we go through as the light calls to us. She says, "Consider how the peace of God within you might need to stretch and stand up so that being who you are more fully will break the shell of your confinement. Pray to understand that even if this stretching is uncomfortable, it is not bad or wrong, but simply necessary for the growth and evolution of your soul. Pray to be given the qualities of deep listening, courage and faith, patience and effort, and that your own transformation supports the healing of the world." And those last two sentences especially bear repeating and remembering. Pray to be given the qualities of deep listening, courage and faith, patience and effort, and that your own transformation supports the healing of the world. Here's something interesting to consider, at least I found it very interesting. Did you know that a comet spends most of its time as a frozen ball drifting through space? And while it's in this state, a comet is dark and lifeless, just like a regular asteroid. But when the comet approaches the sun, an amazing thing happens. It begins to blast jets of gas and dust, creating a glowing mass that can stretch for hundreds of thousands of miles. And this amazing transformation makes the comet one of the most impressive objects found in our solar system. I believe that Jesus, in admonishing us not to place our lamps under a bushel basket, is calling to us to allow the full beauty of the divine spirit within each of us to shine out in all its glory, just as a comet displays its energy in a most visible and awesome way. As we approach the truth of our being, just as when the comet approaches the sun, there's a radiance that begins to shine forth and begins to light up even the darkest parts of our world. So what holds us back from expressing all that we can be? That's simple. Our fears. Fear that we might fail in some way. Fear that we don't have what it takes. Fear of stepping out into the unknown in order to experience something brand new. We make our world what it is through our beliefs and our perception. And here's the thing, those beliefs and perceptions can be changed once we decide to change them. And Lynn Fitzsimmons learned to do that for herself and found immense freedom in the process. She tells of the time when she and her husband, Phil, strolled along hand in hand, running their bare feet through the pristine sand of a beach in Nassau, Bahamas. And as they walked, Phil described the landscape, the deep blue waters of the ocean, the crystal clear blue sky, and the lush greenery with gorgeous flowers in this fantastic paradise. For you see, through Phil's voice and his descriptions, Lynn was no longer blind. They laughed and teased one another as they approached a small straw hut with several brightly colored parasails lined up in a row. And Phil had Lynn touch one, and they both laughed uncontrollably until she said, "Yes, let's do it." Lynn said she felt exhilarated, but then her smile disappeared and negative thoughts filled her head. She thought all about the dangerous things that might happen. She pushed her husband away and wouldn't discuss it any further. And so they walked along the beach back to their hotel in silence. And then Lynn came to a stop and thought to herself that this was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And if she didn't take action right now, in this moment, to challenge herself and face her fears, she'd regret it for the rest of her life. Well, before Lynn knew what had happened, she found herself in a small boat headed for a large white floating raft out somewhere in the deep blue waters of the ocean. And she and Phil explained to the two gentlemen on the floating raft that Lynn was legally blind and wanted to experience the adventure of parasailing. One of the gentlemen was really nervous about this, but the other, who had a deep, calming voice, smiled and grasped her firmly as he strapped her into the beautiful kite. And he carefully guided her fingers over the ropes and poles as he described the process and the instructions. And after a few moments of quiet contemplation, the kind gentleman took a deep breath and said, "Okay, this is what we're going to do. When you begin your descent, you will feel yourself coming down, and as you get closer to the raft, I will shout out to you. When you hear my voice, give me a signal that you hear me by giving me 2 thumbs up. And when you are low enough and almost ready to touch down on the raft, I will give you a hard slap on the back of your leg. When you touch down on the raft, we will both grab you under your arms and will continue to run with you a few feet, but will stop you before you run off the other side of the raft." And Lynn listened very carefully and very seriously to everything he said. And at this point, Lynn realized she was really going to do this. And her body began to shake, but it was too late to back out. Lynn stood on the edge of the floating raft and locked into the beautiful kite, and her heart began to pound like a jackhammer. She heard the engine of the boat start, and she could feel the curled rope beneath her toes leaving the raft. Lynn took a deep breath as she felt a hard jerk of her body, and she was up and gone. And it happened so quickly. And surprisingly, the wind was soft and welcoming. And Lynn flew higher and higher. And she told herself that she was an eagle. And she was really flying. And she took a few deep, calming breaths and allowed herself to relax, because this was such an amazing opportunity. And smiling, she began to enjoy the sound of the silence. And her hands were comfortably hanging onto the bar attached to the kite, so she slowly loosened her grip and actually let go. And Lynn outstretched her arms and embraced the heavens. She was flying like an eagle. And huge tears began to roll down her face, not because she was afraid, but because she was suspended in midair and feeling free and happy. As she looked around at the deep blue waters of the ocean and the crystal clear blue sky, just like Phil had described it, then realized that there were no lines or barriers separating them from one another. She felt healed. She no longer felt like a misfit blind girl trying to explain and fight her way through life. She could put all those hurt memories to rest. Throughout the years, Lynn had allowed her negative thinking to prevent her from taking control of her life, from seeing the strong, independent, and sassy woman who was confident and had finally found her true identity. And she firmly proclaimed, "I am not disabled. My disability is only one small part of the person I have developed into today." And all too quickly, Lynn felt her descent begin. And she wiped the tears from her eyes and vowed that she would never again allow negative thinking to stop her from experiencing greatness. She said that this experience was one of those aha moments that changed her life and gave her a new perspective. How many, many times have we allowed our negative thoughts and fears to keep us from soaring? Here's what we're told in Isaiah. Have you not known? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He does not faint or grow weary. His understanding is unsearchable. He gives power to the faint and strengthens the powerless. Even youths will faint and be weary, and the young will fall exhausted. But those who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. How reassuring is that? Those who wait upon the Lord shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. When we simply take a moment to breathe deeply and allow ourselves to tune into that divine presence within each of us, we allow ourselves to gain that higher perspective, that strength, that courage, that perseverance and endurance. Thomas Kelly put it so beautifully when he said, "Deep within us all, there is an amazing inner sanctuary, a holy place, a divine center, a speaking voice to which we may continually return. Eternity is at our hearts, pressing upon our time-worn lives, warning us with intimations of an astounding destiny, calling us home to itself to be awakened." Keep seeking the light, and as Jesus said, do not stop until you find it, but let us look for it deeply within ourselves, and let us look for it within each other. Marianne Williamson tells us the transformation of the world will be brought about not through a lateral, but through a vertical effort. It is not only what we do, but what we choose to become that will determine the future of the earth. We can choose to become an expression what in truth we already are, beings of light and love. And I want to share with you a blog written by Wayne Dyer a number of years ago. And here's what he had to say. Just as a candle spreads its light in a darkened room, people who are living in spirit give off a higher energy that can bring light to our hearts and minds. In other words, we can be inspired just by being in their presence. How can we find people who are living their lives in spirit? One measure that has worked for me, he says, is the joy index. When we meet others who we think might be living in spirit, we can ask the following questions. Do they seem to have a rapturous heart, sending out signals that they love the world and everyone in it? Are they jubilant about the work they do? Do they see the world as a friendly place? Are they at peace within themselves? Do they appear to be kind rather than judgmental? Do they tend to be cheerful? Do they love to play? Are they willing to be students as well as teachers? Do they love nature? Are they in awe of the world? Are they approachable? Do they take great pleasure in serving others? Do they accept all people as equals? Are they open to new ideas? The answers to these questions will help us determine whether another person is potentially an inspiring influence. We can recognize them by how we feel in their presence. We recognize that their high spiritual energy, which longs to be active in our lives. And for me, it feels like a warm, soothing shower that's running deep within me. I know I'm resonating with a higher energy that makes me feel incredibly good. Okay, now let's just change the pronoun in each of those questions. And we'll find that we then have a guide for living our lives in a way that allows our light to shine brightly into the world. Do I have a rapturous heart, sending out signals that I love the world and everyone in it? Am I jubilant about the work I do? Do I see the world as a friendly place? Am I at peace with myself? Am I kind rather than judgmental? Do I tend to be cheerful? Do I love to play? Am I willing to be a student as well as a teacher? Do I love nature? Am I in awe of the world? Am I approachable? Do I take great pleasure in serving others? Do I accept all people as equals? Am I open to new ideas? Do I resonate with a higher energy that makes me feel incredibly good? So there you have a guide, and it is up to you to choose to use it. And I put these questions on some pages that I printed out if anybody would like copies of them afterwards. So I know that you can do it, and I behold the light in each and every one of you. And now Jeremy will lead us into our time of meditation.
As I center in love, I align with God. As I center in love, I align with God. As I center in love, I align with God, with God.
this is the time of our meditation, so I invite you to sit back in your seats, relax, and become comfortable in whatever way that is for you. I invite you to take a deep breath. And as you breathe in, know that you're breathing in the allness, the fullness of God. And as you exhale, you're releasing that which is no longer needed in this moment. Once again, I invite you to take another deep breath. And as you exhale, allow yourself to relax even more into that quiet, still place within, that secret place of the Most High. For we are now in the presence of pure being, immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. Beloved Spirit, how reassuring it is to know that your presence is within each of us. That light and that love are a part of us, a part of our very nature. And as we turn to that part of ourselves for guidance in living our lives, that divine light does shine out to the world. Many times we can feel it, even if we don't see it. There is a lightness, a weightlessness to it. And there's a sense of joy that comes from and through that connection. Help us to see that light within ourselves and within each other, and to do all that we can to call it forth. And sweet Spirit, to help us center in this truth, we take this time now to simply abide here with you in the silence. And now, very easily, very gently, I invite you to return once again to this time and this space. And know that at any time, anywhere, under any circumstance, you can always take just a moment to take a deep breath and turn within. Thank you, Father, Mother, God. Thank you. Amen.
As I center in love, I align with God. As I center in love, I align with God. As I center in love, I align with God, with God, with God, with God, with God.
Well, thank you, Reverend Janet. That was very just heartfelt, inspirational. I do admire the turtle for trying, though. I do got to give him props for that. So, well, know that in unity, giving and receiving is one. We look at and know the energy of it, the giving, the flowing in a circular motion. As we say, give, and it will be given unto you, good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, and placed into your lap. Well, in other words, as we give, we receive, and more. A time where we give to this ministry. We have many ways: passing the basket, the QR code on the back of the chair in front of us, the thanks to those who give on a regular basis, on a recurring donation. So let's all take this moment, this sacred moment, to feel, take our gift to our heart and affirm our offertory blessing together. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am richly blessed. Thank you, God. Well, mark your calendars for the Painting with a Purpose event. It'll be at Painting with a Twist at Bertram's Oaks Walk in honor of Reverend Yvonne's birthday. That'll be on Sunday, November 3rd at 12:30 to 2:30. The cost is $45. To register, click on the QR code on the flyer in the lobby. Well, UCCL's annual Fall Festival is coming up quick. It's on Saturday, October 5th. I'd like everyone to help spread the word by sharing on one of these flyers we have in the lobby and share it with friends or local businesses. We also have some Fall Festival volunteer opportunities for setup crew, ticket sales, Unity booth, Kids Zone, and Teardown crew, and there are sign-up sheets for that also in the lobby. We're also requesting donations of small pumpkins and varying size paintbrushes for our Fall Festival painting zone. So please bring it to service by next Sunday, September 29th. And if you're a crafter and would like to donate items to UCCL to sell at the festival, let us know by signing up in the lobby. Any questions, either see Tammy Bond or Helen Sylvester after service.
Well, thank you, Bill. Now it's time to all stand. Let's all rise. And join with me in saying the prayer for protection as an affirmative statement. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. And together, wherever we are, God is, and all is well.